South Africa is on edge as thousands of citizens take to the streets in major cities, demanding stricter border control and priority for locals in jobs, housing, healthcare and schools. These SA First protests have intensified in recent days, sparking fierce national debate. Is this legitimate frustration over illegal immigration or a dangerous rise in xenophobia? Protests organized by groups such as March and March, alongside older movements like Operation Dudula, have drawn large crowds in Johannesburg, Pretoria, Durban and other centers. Marchers head to government buildings carrying placards that read "Put South Africans First" and "Deport undocumented foreigners now." They accuse illegal immigrants of straining public services, taking scarce jobs, and contributing to crime. Here's what this means for South Africa. With official unemployment at 31.4% in late 2025, one of the highest rates in the world, and youth unemployment exceeding 57%, many citizens feel intense pressure on limited resources. Protesters argue that undocumented migrants compete directly with South Africans for low-skilled work, informal trading spots, and access to clinics and schools. What is the difference between xenophobia and legitimate grievance? Xenophobia refers to irrational fear or hatred of foreigners simply because they are foreign. Legitimate grievances involve policy failures around border management, documentation, and enforcement of immigration laws. Experts note that both elements often appear mixed in these protests. The government faces growing pressure. President Cyril Ramaphosa has repeatedly condemned violence and vigilantism while acknowledging the need for better border management. Authorities have deployed police to maintain order during marches, but diplomatic tensions are rising. Nigeria recently summoned South Africa's High Commissioner over reported incidents, and other African nations have expressed concern. Opposition voices are divided. Parties such as Action SA and the Patriotic Alliance strongly support tighter controls and faster deportation of undocumented foreigners. They argue the priority of any government must be its own citizens. The EFF has taken a more nuanced position. While acknowledging public frustration with porous borders and exploitative employers who hire undocumented workers at lower wages, EFF representatives reject vigilante actions and call for humane, lawful processes that respect human dignity and international obligations. Labour groups, including COSATU, express sympathy for unemployed members but warn against scapegoating foreigners. They emphasise fixing the real issues: corruption at Home Affairs, weak border security, and failure to create enough jobs for South Africans. Civil society organizations, such as OUTA and human rights groups, urge calm. They acknowledge service delivery failures, but stress that blaming foreigners alone will not solve deep structural problems. They call for transparent data on migration's actual impact and stronger anti-corruption efforts. Here's the economic reality in simple terms. South Africa has a large informal economy where many undocumented migrants work. Some studies suggest they fill jobs locals often avoid, while others argue they suppress wages in certain sectors. Crime statistics remain contested. Foreigners are both victims and, in some cases, perpetrators, but no reliable evidence shows they are the primary drivers of overall crime levels. Illicit trade and porous borders, however, cost the fiscus billions in lost revenue. Analysts warn that continued unrest risks damaging South Africa's international reputation and investor confidence. At the same time, ignoring citizens' concerns could deepen social divisions ahead of the November 2026 local government elections. What could realistically happen next? Government may accelerate border technology upgrades, audit immigration status, and improve Home Affairs efficiency. However, large-scale deportations face legal, logistical, and humanitarian challenges. Without faster economic growth and job creation, these tensions are likely to persist. For everyday South Africans, the stakes are personal. A mother struggling to get her child into an overcrowded school, a job seeker competing at construction sites, or a small business owner facing competition from informal traders, these pressures feel immediate. This is not a simple black and white issue. It reflects deeper failures in governance, economic policy, and service delivery after 30 decades of democracy. Finding the right balance between compassion, sovereignty, and practicality will test South Africa's leadership in the coming months. The protests continue, the debate rages online and on the streets, and pressure is mounting on government to act decisively. Implementation of any new measures will determine whether these marches lead to meaningful reform or further polarization. This is a story we will continue to follow closely. What are your thoughts? Share them respectfully in the comments below. For more analysis on South African issues, subscribe and hit the notification bell.